I got divorced at 35. I was overweight, lonely, terrified of dating again. Didn't think I even had a chance with any attractive women. But within 6 months, I was dating a model from Calgary. And it's not because I became a sugar daddy or anything like that. It's because I made the decision that I was going to work on myself and I was going to get shit figured out. For anybody who's familiar with the channel or not, I might already know that growing up, I was always the shy, quiet kid. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have any girls that liked me. I remember elementary school. I told a couple of girls that I thought they were cute, and they just laughed at me and then ran away. And I took this into middle school with me. There's girls I had crushes on, but I just assumed that they would laugh at me or that I wasn't cool enough to date them. And to be honest, I probably wasn't, because I didn't socialize. I was too afraid to speak my mind. I would only talk to people if they talked to me, and they would be very short. This kept up through high school. High school, I had, I think, one girl say that she did like me, but I was so worried what other people would think about me that I didn't pursue it. And I thought she was kind of cute and fun, but I always worried that people would think she wasn't cool enough, and that the most important thing to me in high school was to try to be cool. I wanted the acceptance. I wanted to fit in. I took that with me to my very first real relationship, which was with my ex-wife. We met when I was 22 in the military. I was still the same kid, very shy, very unconfident. Didn't express myself, but for whatever reason, she still really liked me. We had fun together, but I was never a man. I was just a kid at 21, or 22, I didn't know any better. And I never developed anything because I guess I just got comfortable right away. I just never had to develop. I wasn't a leader, so I never set up dates for us or anything. It was always asking, what do you want to do? What should we eat? What would make you happy? And I just never learned the traits to be a man. This kept up through our marriage for 12 years. I never thought it was important to learn this stuff, or I just never had the idea that I could learn it. And maybe I got that from my dad. I feel like he's kind of the same way. Maybe he's never had the opportunity to learn it like I did because he didn't have to go through a divorce. But yeah, I just never knew what I didn't know. I didn't know I could improve myself. I didn't know what setting goals was. I didn't know what becoming a man meant. I just coasted by and let things happen. So when the divorce happens after 12 years, I'm 35, no idea what to do, not a clue. I assumed I was supposed to be with this girl forever, and I know we had our ups and downs, but you're supposed to make it work out no matter what. It obviously didn't work out. She met somebody that she was more attracted to. I 100% see why. It's not very attractive when your husband is playing video games and yelling at the TV, not leading, not problem solving. Stuff would come up and I would just say it's too difficult, or she would figure it out. So I was just never very masculine, and I see why she left. But after she left, I started figuring out, I had to figure out something to do. I knew I didn't want to be alone forever, and if I didn't make any changes, I was going to be stuck in my house playing World of Warcraft by myself for the next, 10 years, really doing nothing. And I don't know how I came across Zig Ziglar or Tony Robbins, but I did, and that's really what shifted my mindset. I read something that said you can either make changes or basically what they said was whatever you do is a choice. So if I choose to not practice my social skills and get better with women, if I choose to sit and play World of Warcraft all day, that is a choice. But I also have the choice of improving myself. I have the choice of going out and learning social skills. I have the choice of eating healthier. I have the choice of finding a new job or moving out of Wisconsin. And just knowing that I had that choice really set me on the right path. I decided I was going to move out of Wisconsin. I needed a fresh start. I wanted to go places where I had the opportunities to meet a lot of girls. In Wisconsin, I'm from a small town of maybe, 30,000 people. So there's not a whole lot of options. I feel like if I would have stayed there, I would have still settled for the first girl that came around that showed me attention. So it took, one of the very first steps I took towards becoming a better version of myself was that I started taking risks. Women are attracted to men who are risk takers. It just shows that you're willing to experience new things. You can handle situations. It helps build your confidence. And confidence was always an issue for me. So I started to learn to be more confident. I decided I was going to take some risks. I was going to move to Boston. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't, never been there before. And I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when I told people I was going to move there, everyone kept trying to tell me how dangerous it was. It was like they were trying to keep me in my little bubble. Oh, you can't go to Boston. People get robbed out there. You can't go there. You'll get murdered or whatever. Car will get stolen. And as soon as I got out there, I loved it. And the same thing happened when I went to Colombia and I went to Mexico. People are trying to convince me that it's dangerous or that I shouldn't do it. And I think that's just because they want to keep you obviously safe. They care about you. But they also have that limiting mindset as well. They might have grown up giving in to fear, which I totally understand. That's how I lived most of my life. But as soon as I got out there, I realized I could handle it. It's not something that's super crazy to deal with. I mean, you're just living in a new city. You make new friends. You see new things. It really, really boosted my self-development because I realized I could start handling things. And yeah, I could handle stuff. Growing up, married, I didn't feel I could handle things. I didn't think I was good enough, so I didn't try. But moving started to get me to see that no, I was capable of a lot of things. In Boston, I learned a lot about social skills and meeting girls. I was still very needy though. I would chase girls. I would kind of settle for just any attention, whether it's good or bad. A lot of the girls I would talk to, I was not that attracted to, but I was just happy to be around different people, I guess, some attention. But I was still progressing. I was still working out. I was still reading. I was reading a lot of useful books that taught me about being a man, setting goals, figuring out what you want in life. And I realized very quickly Boston was not the spot for me, so I moved out to Vegas. And when I got to Vegas, I started meeting more high-value friends that taught me even more about becoming a better version of yourself, setting goals, working on business instead of just, getting by every day. I was still kind of coasting. So when I met Jenny, I had already learned so many things. I wasn't the same guy who just got out of the divorce. I had been working on myself for 6 months now. I'd been working out. I'd been setting goals. I'd been accomplishing a lot of things. My confidence went way up when I moved from Wisconsin to Boston and then randomly from Boston to Vegas, and nothing bad happened. I was able to handle any situation that came up. I think that's one of the best reasons to travel. If you've never traveled, for me, when I was married, we'd never traveled anywhere. It was always more about money, not having enough, or just not wanting to go and explore. But with travel, you quickly realize that you're just capable of so much more. If something comes up, you just deal with it, and it's not a big deal. So now I'm to the point where I'm not afraid to travel. I'll book a trip now and not really look at anything about the country. Same thing happened when I went to Guatemala. People are telling me it's on like the watch list or the very dangerous list. And, you know, they just want to protect you, but at the same time, they have a very limited mindset. They've never been to Guatemala. They don't know what it's like. So I'm gonna go test it out. I went to Guatemala and it was fantastic. I loved it. It was not dangerous. A lot of great people. Maybe some parts are dangerous, but I just didn't go to those parts. But back to the Jenny story. So I'm in Vegas, improving myself. I'm much more confident. I've been going out, practicing my social skills, and I meet Jenny. Jenny is a model from Calgary, by far the prettiest girl that I had been in a relationship with up until that point. But there's still a lot of red flags with her. And had I not been improving and defining my boundaries and getting in abundance with, you know, life and women, I feel like I would have settled with her too, because it would have been more about how pretty she was rather than her personality. When I was younger, it was all about looks. I wanted my girlfriend, I thought my wife was very attractive. I wanted a girl that made me look good. And I think that's because I needed validation from others. I needed that approval, like, oh, Johnny's cool, look how hot his girlfriend is. So Jenny was a great barometer just to show how far I had come. It gave me the proof that what I was doing was working. I was becoming a more high-value man. I was looking better physically. And just my personality traits were more attractive. And that drew her to me. She started chasing me. I wasn't the one chasing all the girls all the time. They started wanting to be around me because of the traits I displayed. A lot of guys were or are like I was when I was married. Watch football all day on a Sunday, don't do anything during the week, don't travel, no real goals, no ambition. So having Jenny meet a guy like me really turned her on. She was used to these guys in Calgary that were living like I used to. So I'm very grateful for that experience. It didn't end up working out with her because there were some red flags. And because I had developed so much, ooh, cool, lightning. Because I had developed so much, I didn't have to settle with her, which I absolutely would have done if I rushed into a relationship right after the divorce. That was one of my biggest fears, was I would be so ready to just date anybody that I would have settled and been in the same pattern again. Would have been married for, I don't know, 5, 6 years, 7, 8 years, 10 more years. And then I'm 45 going through the same situation, which if you're 45, just know you can make changes now and you'll be fine. But I didn't want to go through that pattern again. I feel like I would have got out of that next relationship. And then by then I might have never learned what I do now. And then maybe I would have settled for a third time, just trying for more validation, trying to be a better version of myself. I think that's the reason why I wanted so much validation, is I never felt worthy enough because I wasn't working on myself. I knew I was underachieving. So if I had gone into a relationship immediately after my divorce, I feel like it would have been exactly the same. But having been working on myself for 6 months, although Jenny was very attractive, she kind of looked like Emma Stone, if you know who that is. Looks weren't enough for me anymore. I needed more substance. We did connect a lot, but it also just wasn't easy. Like, there's some girls you're around and it's just easy, it just flows. And that wasn't working with me and Jenny. So I defined having these boundaries, I was able to realize that, yes, she's attractive. Yes, we have a good time together, but that doesn't mean I should, want to marry this girl or to see her long term. So I guess the point of this video is just to tell you about how, cool, lightning everywhere. The point of the video is just to tell you how I kind of realized 6 months after the divorce, just how much I've grown. I realized what is possible. You don't have to You don't have to think you're gonna have to just settle for some girl. If you're working on yourself and doing what's gonna make you happy and improving you as a person, what it takes to become a strong, high value man, not just a weak guy who plays video games and doesn't know how to set up dates or call a plumber if something goes down. I was very useless. But yeah, it's very possible to change. You just have to take the right steps. It's your choice. If say you're going through a divorce now, or you're going through a relationship, or you're broken up and you're not meeting girls, or anything, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You're always making a choice. You're making a choice to either get better or to not do anything. And once I heard that, I realized that I coasted my whole life. I was making the decision to not take action, and it made me a very sad and depressed person. It made me a bad husband. It didn't make me a good partner. And now that I've been able to, I guess, escape that environment, I've just learned so much, and you start attracting the kind of quality girls or people into your life that you're looking for. I guess I don't really have much else to say. If you're looking for specific ways to start to develop yourself after, or just in general, the first thing I did was I started making my bed. As dumb as that sounds, I started making my bed, and it made me realize that I can make small improvements throughout the day. It doesn't have to be something massive. I don't have to commit to going to the gym 5 days a week if I've never gone. It's just something very small that I'm able to do consistently. It's not difficult. And then once you get your bed made, you kind of realize that there's other things you can do. So for instance, my daily routine in the mornings started with just making my bed. Then it started with meditating for 5 minutes. Then it added on drinking apple cider vinegar. Then it added on reading 5 pages of a book. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but 5 pages of a book every day for the last 7 years, I've been able to go through a lot of life-changing books. The Compound Effect, The Rational Male, No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'm reading The 4-Hour Workweek now. It starts to absorb into your psyche. And when you're on these dates, I find that I just randomly bring up these topics that I've been reading about. It makes you more well-rounded and interesting. So if you're looking for some tips on easy ways to start to improve, I highly recommend that. I don't think I really have much else to talk about. Like I said, Jenny and I, it didn't work out. She was a great girl, but just not what I was looking for. And she really taught me also a lot about how I can improve myself even more as a man. Because up until her, I was never really all that sexually experienced. Obviously, I was having sex with my ex-wife, but we didn't talk about sex. We didn't ask each other what turned each other on. It was very much the same stuff all the time. And being with Jenny, it kind of opened my eyes into what girls are attracted to. A lot of times they won't tell you because they don't want to come off as being sluts or being judged. But there's a lot of things that you can do that would turn them on, and they're very masculine traits. And I just never knew that up until I got with Jenny specifically, because we were very open with each other, and I was never open before. So I guess the point of this video is just to say how I've grown and how important it is to become a high-value man in order to attract the women that you want. So I'm gonna leave it there. It's starting to rain. I'm off to the gym and sauna, and we'll see you next time.